She trusted him. He sold her in the cold darkness of space. The slave ship Vrexel 9 inches floated silently, its metal walls filled with pain, screams and broken dreams. Elara, a young human woman with soft brown eyes and long black hair, sat quietly. In her cell, her wrists were chained, her face bruised. The red alien mark on her neck glowed faintly, proof that she was now property. But this was not always her life. She was once free. She once believed in love. She once believed in Kale. 3 months ago, on the green planet Theron, Elara lived a peaceful life. She worked in a repair shop, fixing small machines. Life was simple, but happy. And then Kale came. Handsome, charming, funny. He made her laugh like no one else. He told her stories about space, about faraway planets, and about freedom. He said humans were meant for more. He said he loved her. "I can take you away from this place," Kale had whispered, touching her hand. "A better life. Just us. No fear." She believed him. She trusted him. And so one night, under the light of the twin moons, she left everything behind. Her job. Her home. Her friends. She followed him into the stars. But the stars were cold. And Kale was a liar. As soon as their ship reached the border planet Varnes, Kale handed her over to tall, lizard-like aliens known as the Dravari. "She's pure," he said. Coldly, young, untouched, she saw well, Elara screamed. She begged. She cried. But Kale didn't even look back. She was thrown into a cage, chained like an animal. The last thing she heard was Kale laughing. Counting credits. Now, inside the slave ship, Elara sat broken. Every day, aliens came and looked at her through glass. Some wanted a worker. Others wanted worse. She had no idea how long she had been there. Days, weeks. Time didn't matter anymore. She didn't cry now. She didn't scream. She just waited to be sold, waited to disappear. But tonight, something was different. Far away, past the security cameras, in the shadows of the ship, someone was watching her. Darren, a former human soldier hiding among stars, stood on the edge of a cliff above the ship's landing bay. His eyes were sharp, his jaw tight. He had seen her, that mark on her neck, those empty eyes, that pain. He had seen it before, on his sister, many years ago. Before the aliens killed her. He didn't know Elara, but he knew the system, and he knew she deserved better. Back inside, a new alien entered Elara's cell. It was short, with green skin and sharp teeth. "You go tomorrow," it said in broken English. "Good price, new master." Elara didn't respond. She stared at the floor. The alien laughed and walked away. As the door closed, Elara whispered, almost like a breath, "Kale." "Why?" Outside, hidden in shadows, Darren pulled out an old human device. One word appeared on the screen. "Target locked. Operation begins in 24 hours." The next day, Elara was moved to a glass display cage in the slave market on Dral 5, a trading planet filled with aliens of every shape and kind. She stood silently as creatures pointed and stared. "She's healthy," the merchant said. "Obedient, human." Suddenly, from the crowd, someone stepped forward. It was him. Kale. He wore a fine black coat. His eyes sparkled with wealth. Well, he said with a smile. "Still pretty, still unsold. What a shame." Elara's body shook, her fists clenched. "You. She said through gritted teeth. Kale laughed. "Don't be angry, Elara. You were just business." He turned and walked away again. But this time, someone was watching him. That night, as the market slept and the guards relaxed, the silence broke. Boom. An explosion rocked the east gate. Screams. Lasers. In the chaos, a dark figure moved through the shadows, fast, silent, dangerous. Inside the cages, Elara lifted her head. A man stood before her, wearing a black coat and a mask. Human, He looked at her, then blasted the lock on her cage. "Who are you?" She whispered. He pulled off his mask. "Darren," he said. "I'm here to get you out. I don't know you." "I know, but I know what they did to you. You don't deserve this." Ilara paused, then stepped out of the cage. For the first time in months, she walked free, but the alarms had started. The chase had begun. The man who watched her fall, the fire still burned behind them. Smoke rose into the alien night sky, and alarms echoed through the empty steel streets of Dral 5. Red lights blinked. Drones scanned the air. But Darren and Ilara were already gone, shadows, slipping through the cracks of a city that never slept. Far from the market, in a broken tunnel forgotten by most, Darren checked the scanner. His heart was steady, his hands, trained from years of war, moved fast but calm. Ilara sat in the corner, silent. Her body trembled from exhaustion, fear, and something else, disbelief. She was no longer in a cage, but the chains were still inside her mind. She stared at the man who rescued her, a stranger, a human like her, but different. Strong, sharp, and angry. 12 hours earlier, Darren stood on the roof of a rusted outpost, eyes on the slave ship. He wasn't a hero, not anymore. Once, he wore the uniform of Earth's final defense unit, the Terran Vanguard. He fought in the last battle before humans surrendered. He watched his planet burn. He buried his sister in a desert made of glass. Since then, he stayed in the shadows. Smuggler, gunrunner, mechanic, anything to survive, anything to stay alive. But when he saw her branded, chained, broken, something old woke up inside him. She looked like his sister, but this time, he wasn't too late. Darren moved through the streets of Dral 5 like a ghost, his face hidden, his mind focused. He studied the guards, the weapons, the timing of patrols. He knew this kind of place. The aliens always believed humans were weak, easy to break, easy to sell. They forgot what humans do when they have nothing left to lose. They forgot pain makes us dangerous. He didn't plan to start a war. He just wanted to save one. But sometimes, one is enough to light a fire. Back to present. Ilara finally spoke. "You risked your life. For me?" Darren looked up from the scanner. "I've seen too many good people sold," he said quietly. "Didn't want to add one more to the count. I didn't ask you to." "No," he said. "But you didn't deserve what they did." Ilara stared at him, eyes sharp now. "I don't even know who you are." Darren gave a short laugh. "Good, safer that way." She stood slowly. "I'm not weak. You didn't save some little girl." "I know," he replied, meeting her eyes. "But you're not whole either, not yet." Silence. Then Ilara said something he didn't expect. "I want to hurt him." Darren knew who she meant. Kale. She nodded. Darren didn't smile. He just loaded his weapon. "Then you're gonna need a better gun." Outside the tunnel, alien bounty hunters swarmed the market ruins. The price on Ilara's head had just tripled. And Darren? He was now marked as a human rebel, an enemy of the trade lords. The galaxy was waking up. The system didn't like being challenged, but it was too late. Because a single act of defiance had cracked the silence. And silence doesn't return once truth has been spoken. Meanwhile, in a cold hall of marble and steel, Kale stood before a high alien council, tall figures with silver eyes and skin like glass. She escaped. One of them hissed. "She was taken," Kale corrected. "By a human," another growled. "You said she was broken." Kale smiled. "She was. But humans are stupid. They like saving things they don't understand. Let him run. He'll bring her right back to us." Kale stepped forward and bowed slightly. "When he does, I'll finish what I started." Back in the wildlands of Dral 5, Darren showed Ilara a hidden supply cache. Weapons, food, comms gear. "You built all this?" She asked. "No, I stole it," he said, "from them." Ilara picked up a stun blade, holding it carefully. I want to learn. He nodded. You will. As she looked at her reflection in the blade, something inside her shifted. The girl who begged for mercy was gone. Now. She wanted justice. No. She wanted revenge. Closing scene. Darren sent a signal through a hidden network. A message in the old Terran code. It read, Rebel spark lit. Target, Kale. Human asset recovered. Phase 2 begins. Across space, in broken ships and forgotten colonies, other humans read the message, and for the first time in years, they smiled. The night of blood and fire. The wind on Drawl 5 wasn't made for humans. It smelled like oil, smoke, and something sharp like burning metal and old blood. The kind of smell that stuck to your skin. The kind that warned, you don't belong here. But Alara stood tall, her hair tied back, a blade strapped to her side. She no longer felt fear. Tonight, fear belonged to someone else. In the distance, the slave market was being rebuilt. New cages, new guards, new slaves, same evil. Alara stared through a set of binoculars, hidden on a rooftop beside Darren. Her jaw clenched as she spotted a familiar face. Kale, laughing with a Dravari warlord. They think you're dead, Darren said quietly. Good, Alara replied. Let's surprise them. 12 hours earlier the plan was simple. Simple doesn't mean easy. Step 1. Break into the market's central grid hub. Step 2. Overload the defense towers. Step 3. Send a message loud and clear. Alara and Darren entered through the underground pipe system. It smelled worse than death. Creatures skittered in the dark. One hissed at Elara. She hissed back. Darren glanced at her. You've changed, Alara smiled. Good. They reached the control room. 2 guards stood outside, tall, armored aliens with plasma spears. Darren raised a finger. 1, 2, 3. Then dash action. A flash grenade rolled out. Boom. Alara rushed in, her stun blade glowing blue. Slash. Thud. Silence. They moved fast. Darren hacked the main console. His fingers danced over the keys. Once this overloads, he said, every defense drone in the market will explode. But we only get 5 minutes. Then we run? No, Alara said, eyes burning. Then we fight. Present time. Nightfall. Back on the rooftop, Darren gave a nod. It's time. Alara took a deep breath and pressed the trigger on the remote. Far away, the market's towers flickered. Then dash boomed. One after another, fire lit up the sky. Explosions shattered the cages, sparks flew like falling stars, screams echoed. Sirens wailed. Panic. Chaos. Freedom. Elara jumped down from the rooftop with Darren beside her. They sprinted through the smoke, heading toward the prisoner zone. I thought we were here to break the system, Darren shouted. We are, she yelled back. But first we break the locks. Inside the cells, dozens of human slaves looked up in shock. The walls were shaking. Red lights blinked. Something was happening. The impossible was happening. Alara kicked open the first cage. Get up, move. 1. Girl hesitated. Who are you? Alura's voice cut like steel. Someone who remembers. More explosions in the distance. Darren handed out weapons from a stolen crate. You want your lives back? Then take them. The prisoners rose. Some limped. Some cried. All were ready. The market wasn't ready for this. Kale stood in the upper command tower, watching flames rise into the sky. His smile disappeared. He turned to a guard. How did they get in? Before the guard could answer, the door exploded inward. Darren walked through the smoke, gun in hand. Alara stepped beside him, blade glowing. Kale laughed. You brought her back to me. How sweet. No, Alara said. I came to end you. The fight was fast and brutal. Kale was strong. He had alien tech woven into his arms, fast reflexes. Hard skin. But Alara didn't fight like before. She moved with purpose. With rage. With truth. She cut deep, Kale screamed as he fell to one knee. You were nothing, he growled. Alara looked down at him. And yet I'm still the one standing. She didn't kill him, not yet. She turned to the camera watching from the wall and spoke into the feed. To all humans watching this, you are not property, you are power. Rise. Hours later, the fire still burned, but the market was empty now. Most of the guards were dead or fled. The slaves free. Darren walked beside Alara as dawn touched the horizon. For the first time, it felt warm. You lit a match, he said. Now the galaxy will feel the flame. I hope it burns, she replied. Darren handed her a cum device. The resistance wants to talk. She raised an eyebrow. Resistance? He smirked. It's real. And now, they have you. She was just a pawn, until she chose to fight. The galaxy didn't notice when Alara was sold. It didn't care when she was branded. It didn't flinch when she screamed. But now, it was watching. Her face, once silent and afraid, had been broadcast across dozens of systems. Her words had traveled faster than ships. You are not property. You are power. Rise. And somewhere, in the ashes of the broken slave market, something old and dangerous began to grow again. Hope. Aboard the rebel ship Ashfall. The resistance ship wasn't beautiful. It didn't shine. It groaned when it flew. It smelled like oil and burned food. But to Alara, it was the first place that didn't feel like a prison. She stood in front of a cracked mirror inside her room. No chains, no guards. Just her. She studied her reflection like it was a stranger. The bruises had faded. The scars remained. But it was her eyes that changed the most. They didn't tremble anymore. Outside, Darren was talking to the rebel captain, a grizzled old human named Roth. He had one cybernetic arm and a voice like gravel. She's strong, Roth said. But she's not a soldier. She doesn't need to be, Darren replied. She's more than that. Roth looked through the glass at Alara, who now walked through the ship with purpose. She's a symbol. Later, the crew gathered in the central room. A screen showed dozens of dots, locations where humans were still being traded, enslaved and silenced. Alara stood before them. Not as a victim. Not anymore. We don't need to save everyone, she said, her voice steady. We just need to make them believe they can save themselves. She pointed at 1.0th Prime, a planet-sized auction ground. I want to hit there next, Roth frowned. That's suicide. Maybe, she said. But if we make noise there, the whole system will hear it. She turned to the others. Who's with me? One by one, hands were raised. The rebellion had a new commander. Far across the starscale sat in a med chamber. Skin torn, jaw wired shut. The alien surgeon hissed while applying black liquid over his wounds. You failed, said a voice from behind him. Kale didn't turn. He couldn't. The voice belonged to Lord Verax, an elite member of the Dravari High Council. Your human girl is becoming an idea, Verax said coldly. Ideas are dangerous. Ideas start wars. Kale tried to speak. Only pain came out. Lord. Verax leaned closer. If you can't silence her, I will burn every planet that hides her. Back on the Ashfall training room, Alara stood in front of a dummy, holding a training rifle. Her aim was off. Her breath too fast. Darren stepped behind her, calm, focused. You're not a killer, he said. She lowered the weapon. I wasn't. Then don't become one. She looked at him. You think I'm weak? I think you're human, he said. And that's more dangerous than anything. That night, Alara couldn't sleep. She walked alone to the viewing deck and stared at the stars. So many lights. So many lives. All of them out there, living or dying by the rules of monsters. She clenched her fists. I won't let this happen again. Behind her, Darren approached silently. You okay? She didn't look at him. No, but I will be, he nodded. We move in 2 days. You ready? She turned finally. I'm not ready. I'm done waiting. Final scene, underground broadcast. Tower on Zereth Prime, in a dark corner of Zereth Prime. A hooded figure watched the screen light up. Alara's face appeared again. Voice calm but unshaken. This is not just a rescue. This is a reckoning. The hooded figure smiled and whispered, She's coming. His face in the crowd, Kale returns. The wind on Zereth Prime always howled like something dying. A city built on bones, metal towers, slave ships docking by the hour, and screams buried deep under music and lights. It was the perfect place to hide a war, or start one. Ilara stood in the crowd of a fake auction. Her hair was dyed silver now. Her skin covered in glowing tribal patterns. A disguise built for this mission. She looked calm, but inside, something trembled. This wasn't fear. This was memory. This was where she had been sold once, where she stopped being a person. And tonight, she had returned, not as a product, but as a spark. Beside her, Darren scanned the crowd. Everything was going according to plan. The team had planted explosives under the stage. The broadcast tower was hacked. In exactly 11 minutes, every screen in the sector would show Ilara's message. You cannot own a human soul. But then Darren stiffened. Don't move, he whispered. Ilara didn't turn. What is it? I see him. Her heart froze. She didn't need to ask who. Across the stage, in the VIP zone, surrounded by Dravari warlords and alien merchants, stood Kale. Alive. Wounded. And smiling. His code Kale. Alive. And code alive. Wounded. And smiling. Jaw had been reforged with black steel. One eye glowed red, and when his gaze swept across the crowd, it paused on her. For a moment, the whole galaxy seemed to go silent. No guns. No noise. Just her heartbeat. Loud in her ears. Kale tilted his head. Mock curiosity on his face, like a hunter finding his prey again, like a god spotting his broken toy. He raised a glass. Cheers. Didn't flinch. Not anymore. She whispered into her mic. Change of plan. He's here. Flashback. Years ago. Theron. Kale's hand in hers. His voice gentle. I'll always protect you. The lie burned now more than the chains ever did. Back in the present, the countdown ticked down. 3 minutes. Darren moved closer. We can pull out. Hit him another day. No, Ilara said. He's watching. Let's give him a show. She pushed through the crowd. Straight toward the stage, straight into the light. Gasps rippled through the alien audience as her disguise flickered off. The auctioneer Stammer Ed. Kale leaned forward, almost amused. Ilara, he said, voice metallic and deep. Still so dramatic. She raised her voice, speaking to the cameras. To every human sold in this place, to every soul bought and branded, we are still here, and we are not afraid. Boom. The stage exploded beneath her. Screams. Blasters fired, but Ilara was already moving. Darren covered her, shooting down guards with perfect aim. Smoke swallowed the stage, and in the chaos, Kale vanished. Underground escape tunnels. Hours later, Ilara leaned against a wall, blood on her sleeve, breathing hard. Darren sat beside her, face bruised. That wasn't the plan, he said. No, she answered, eyes still burning. It was better, but he saw you. I wanted him to. She pulled a small device from her pocket. A memory chip. What's that? His voice, she said. He spoke to me. That's a traceable signature. She looked at Darren. We're going to find him. Meanwhile, inside a warship in orbit, Kale stood in a silent chamber. A screen showed Ilara's face. Her speech. Her fire. A red warning flashed. Rebel uprising -13 planets. Kale didn't smile. For the first time, something in him twisted. Not fear, but rage. She was supposed to be broken. She was supposed to vanish. But now, she was everywhere. He touched his metal jaw, then whispered, She wants a war? He turned to the fleet commander. Then let's give her one. One must break, so the other may rise. The stars above Varney's 13 were dead. No light, no color. Just ash and orbiting shadows. This planet wasn't on any map. It wasn't part of any trade route. Because it was never meant to be found. It was where the galaxy's worst secrets were buried. Where prisoners went in and never came out. And now, Alara had chosen to walk straight into it. She stood on the landing pad as cold wind bit her face. A black facility loomed ahead. No windows, no life. Only one signal coming from inside. Kale. They had tracked his voice from Zereth Prime. The trace led here. This wasn't a trap. This was a challenge. Flashback, her first day as a slave. She was pushed into a cell. Cold floors. No bed, no voice. And then a speaker came on, Kale's voice. I told you, Alara. Love is just a word. Pain is real. He trained her to break. He wanted her hollow. He almost succeeded. Present Darren stood beside her, loading his weapon. You sure about this? She nodded. I have to finish it. You don't have to do it alone. She looked at him, really. Looked, and for the first time her eyes softened. I'm not. Inside the prison, the lights flickered. Cameras followed them. No guards. No alarms. Kale was letting them walk in. Confident. He wanted her to see him again, on his stage. Like the first time, they reached the central chamber. The doors opened with a hiss, and there he was, standing tall, dressed in a black exosuit, half his body now machine, his voice deeper. Slower. Welcome home, Alara. She stepped forward, blade on her back, hand steady. You don't control me anymore. Kale tilted his head. Don't I? He pressed a button. Screens lit up. Footage. Old footage. Of her in chains, crying, screaming. You remember her? He said. Because I do. Darren raised his weapon. Kale ignored him. She was beautiful when she begged. Alara didn't move. She just stared, and then she smiled. You've made one mistake, she said softly. Kale paused. You kept talking, while I kept changing. She threw a flash mine. Boom. The chamber exploded in smoke. Shots fired. Lights burst. Darren rolled left, taking out drones with clean shots. Alara moved fast, no hesitation. She faced Kale alone. They fought, blade against steel, memory against hate. Kale struck hard, knocking her down. You'll never be free, he snarled. You'll always be mine. Blood dripped from her mouth. And then she laughed, not out of madness, out of clarity. You broke the girl I was, she said. But you built the woman who can end you. She drove her blade straight into his chest, between armor, past metal, right where his heart had once been. Kale gasped. No cage, she whispered, can hold me anymore. Moments later, the prison alarms finally screamed. The place was collapsing. Darren grabbed her hand. Time to go. They ran, through flames, past broken screens, into the night sky. Behind them, the facility burned like a grave finally set on fire, on the rebel ship. Letter Alara stood alone in front of a crowd of freed humans. She didn't speak like a general. She didn't wear armor. She just stood, eyes clear, voice calm. I don't want to lead, she said. But I will fight, not because I'm brave, but because I was broken, and now I choose to be whole. People didn't cheer. They rose. Silently. Together. Final scene. A shadow in the deep system. An alien war council watched a screen in silence. Kale was dead, but Alara lived, and she was becoming something worse than a rebel. A symbol. One alien hissed, "What do we call her now?" Another replied, "The human fire." The one who loved her changed the galaxy. No one remembers the names of the traitors, or the warlords, or the buyers who sold pain in chains. But they remember her, and they remember him, because in the darkest corner of the galaxy, love didn't whisper. It roared. Location: orbiting the planet of Arcanus Prime. The Dravari throne fleet waited like black clouds 500 ships strong, circling the capital like vultures. Alara stood aboard the ashfall, staring at the battle map. Red dots, blue lines, explosions already forming in simulations. They were outnumbered. Outgunned. But not out of time. Darren stood beside her, quiet, focused. You ready? He asked. She looked at him, not as a soldier, as a man who had once risked everything for a stranger in a cage. Not ready, she whispered. Meant. Flashback. Months ago she was in chains, her hope dying. Then a voice. I'm here to get you out. He didn't know her. He didn't ask anything from her, but he chose to fight. For her anyway, and now she would fight for everyone. Back in the present across the galaxy, rebel ships began to move. Human outlaws, cyborg, defectors, former slaves turned warriors. They didn't fly with polished armor or proud flags. They flew with rage. They flew with hope. They flew with her name on their lips. In the command room, Alara sent a final message. This is for every human who thought no one would come. We're here, and we are not asking. We are taking it all back. The fleet surged forward. The battle of Arcanus lasers cut through the void. The rebel ships darted like wasps, fast, unpredictable. Darren led the ground assault team. He landed on the Capitol Tower, taking fire from all sides. Alara entered the broadcast station, her team fighting beside her. She reached the control panel, inserted the chip. The galaxy's main communication line blinked. Her face appeared. Every planet, every system. Every screen. She didn't speak with anger. She spoke with truth. They tried to bury us in silence, but silence didn't kill us. It made us louder. Behind her, the rebel flag, red flame across stars, unfurled. Kale's throne, empty now. The High Lords watched from dark chambers. They saw cities falling, fortresses breaking. They saw humans, once sold like animals, now leading armies. One whispered, "This cannot be stopped." Another replied, "Too late." Final ground assault. Alara and Darren in the burning tower. Alara faced the last commander, an ancient Dravari with golden armor and a voice like knives. "You are nothing," it hissed. "I was," she answered. "Then I met someone who believed I wasn't." She fired once. The Empire shattered. Later, ashfall ship deck. After victory, Darren leaned against the rail, blood on his sleeve, smile in his eyes. Alara walked to him. No weapons now, just breath. "You started this," she said. "No," he said. "You did. I just gave you a door." She paused. "I thought love was weakness." "It's not," he said. "It's the first kind of power." They stood in silence, not because there was nothing to say, but because they finally didn't have to speak. Final scene. Years later, a child runs across a rebuilt city square, pointing at a statue. "Who's that?" he asks. His mother smiles. "That's Alara." "And the man beside her?" "Darren, the one who didn't save the world. He just loved one girl so hard, the galaxy changed."